10-4.
All right. For the record, can you please... Okay, I don't know what that's about. Anyway, can you please state your name, rank, and what position you are applying for?
Oh yeah, Joe Vande, currently a major general, and I'm applying for deputy federal general.
All right. Do you have any questions before we start this interview?
No sir.
All right. Let's get straight to it then, shall we?
Yes
Question
sir.
1. How would you describe your leadership philosophy?
My leadership philosophy. Pretty straightforward. Leader, in my eyes, it's got to be stern at times. Also, it's got to be careful at times. I think everybody, I think no leader should be singling out certain people, nor do I think any leader should be favoriting any people, because that ain't fair for the whole team or the whole PD as a whole. Someone does one thing wrong, um, possibly the whole team or whole people who's with them could be wrong because they didn't point that out to him or they didn't pick him up when he needed some help or extra assistance. Um, I think um, yeah, as a DFG, you got to have friends, but you got to keep them close, but not close enough to the point where just because they think they're all buddies with you, that they'll get away with they'll get away with something scot free just because they're cool with you or something to that extent.
Okay. How do you develop leadership skills within your team?
Um, I would say for SRT, I kind of like to let the commanders do some of the work that I'm supposed to do. That way they get kind of builds character on them. It kind of gets slowly moved into those roles, learn how to do it. Also, make it open to the whole rest of the team that don't have as important roles, kind of chances to prove themselves for future um, future things that may pop up. So I know I know who to keep an eye on if someone steps down or um, if it's just kind of on the spot. I need to call somebody in for something. I know this person does better than that person. I don't know. I just kind of keep it open to everybody. Give everybody a fair chance to prove themselves.
All right. What is your approach to decision making under pressure?
Um, any certain type of decision making?
That's however you want to interpret it.
Um, can't really think of any PD examples that I've been in that have really been called under pressure yet. Um, I guess mainly just out in the field. Um, gotta kind of got to make a decision, like a life or death decision, on whether you want to pursue a subject or kind of let them go in a sense. Mainly, it depends on backup or how many people who you got with you, and how many people are there around you trying to kill you or tase you or mainly just fuck with you. It just mainly
Or
depends on your setting you're in.
all right. How would you handle resistance to change from internal leadership?
Can you say it one more time?
How would you handle resistance to change from internal leadership?
Well, um, depends on whether I think the change is for the better or for the worse. Um, if it's a good change and I agree with it, and the other DFG and chief agrees with it, um, and uh, the whole PD as a whole likes the idea, I think there's a way we could work into it slowly. That way, it's fair for everybody. Everybody can better understand it more. Um, if I resist it,
The question was, how would you handle resistance to change from internal leadership?
can you expand on that?
So, like, say you implemented something and some of the Colonel Gens and Lieutenant Gens refused to follow what it was that you implemented. How would you handle that?
Well, before I implement anything big, need approval from chief and DFG. If they agree with it, then I implement it. If people have a problem with it, I probably just call a meeting for the whole PD. Probably set out a reminder on Discord too, NRP, and then kind of have everybody talk it out, state their problems, state their comments, concerns, or questions. See if we can get it resolved without making it a huge big ordeal, and just try and get it taken care of before it gets out of hands.
Alright. What is your strategy for inspiring trust and morale in difficult times?
Mainly do debriefings when I need to. Um, give people show people pride when they've done right. Um, Not so much as shame people when they've done wrong, but kind of work with them. Do more trainings. Let them know it's all right to mess up. We're human at the end of the day. Um, but in this faction, you only get so many chances to mess up before you get kicked out, unfortunately. So I just try and stress out that stuff does happen. There's always a way you can work around it. Be better to learn more and be able to be more hands-on. I'd be more hands-on with the people. That way they can learn better and be able to work around the problem instead of go head end first into the problem and then mess up my.
Alright, describe a leadership failure and what you learned from it.
So time I failed.
A leadership failure in general. So it could be something someone around you did where they failed to uphold their position as leader. It could be something you did to fail to uphold your position as leader, and what it is you learned from the whole experience.
I mean, one of the biggest things. There's numerous things I could think of, mainly all from Army. But the biggest thing was FG. He got selected as a candidate. Never was on. Never. I mean, if he was on, it'd only be for maybe 10 minutes. I've seen him come into a raid, then leave in the middle of the raid. So that was one of the biggest things that lets a lot of people down. That's one person you should be looking up to. That's one person that should be looking out over all of the people. Because as a DFG, you're supposed to be looking out over everybody, but you still got somebody who looks out over you. Um, and he would never get on. He would never solve any problems. Barely did any of the behind the scenes work. Um, and that created a lot of friction between me and the other DFG at the time, which the other DFG needed orders to adhere by before he could really make any decisions. So he was kind of he was a loose cannon. He was all over the place. It also kind of reflected on all of the other soldiers because he'd either be power tripping, they'd want to talk to FG for certain things. He thought he should be able to handle everything, which he really couldn't. So I mean, I was able to see the whole thing unfold in front of my eyes, which was very unfortunate at the time.
All right. How do you ensure diversity in leadership positions?
I think straight up, I mean, yeah, it's nice and fair to have it diverse, but at the same time, if uh, said group of people are showing a lot um, better qualities and leadership that I'm looking for, and I know Chief and maybe the other DFG is looking for, I'm going to go with that said group of people. Yeah, it may not be completely 100% diverse like a lot of people would like it to be. I ain't going to sit there and give people who don't deserve the leadership or don't deserve leadership a chance at it if they can't prove themselves or handle certain situations without um, it becoming a big problem. So everybody should get a fair chance. But if there's people that clearly know what they're doing, clearly never have a problem, never get in trouble, I trust with 100%. Then those said people would get a chance before anybody else.
All right. How do you lead a department during organizational fatigue or burnout?
Well, if we're having current problems with the current organization, I'd see probably pull everybody in for a meeting. See the common issues, see what other problems they have with it, see if there's ways we can move around it, work around it, to better fix the department as a whole. Um, and yeah, just keep the floor open, bounce ideas off, write stuff down, try to make changes as quickly as possible. That way to get everybody back on track and back to uh, high morale.
All right. How do you handle confidential whistleblower complaints?
Hmm. Well, it's confidential. So whoever the complaint's on, probably pull that person aside, body cam, everything, obviously. But pull that person aside, talk to them, not even tell them that they got a complaint. I just bring it up out of the blue, um, talk to them about it. Depending on the situation, request body cam. If they don't have body cam, I try and obviously well, first thing I do is get body cam of whoever's the whistleblower. Um, they don't have body cam, can't really do much about it other than just pull the person in, bring up the matter, talk to them about it, get said body cam from the person that the complaint was on, um, and just see what I can work with, what either little or a lot of evidence that I would have. And obviously just keep it around DFGs and Chief.
All right. How would you create a culture of accountability?
I think that goes back to chain of command, in a sense. Everybody's accountable for their rank, um, their situations that they're handling. Um, there's some things that some people just cannot do. That just comes with position and authority. I think that's when chain of command comes in. I think you need to be able to know when and when not to throw it up to the next rank, or throw it up a few ranks above that. I think that keeps everybody accountable for their own choices and their own actions.
All right. What would you do if your closest deputy violated policy?
Oh, sorry, you're cutting out a little bit.
What would you do if your closest deputy violated policy?
Okay. Yeah. So like my other DFG.
Your other DFG, one of the CGs, really depends on how you wanted to interpret that one.
Yeah. So, what I did in Army, gathered a bunch of evidence up, um, kept it under the like I didn't tell nobody about it. Kept it under the wing of everybody. Kept it to myself. Gathered a bunch of evidence up. Um, Made a ticket in game. Talked to Anubis. He was the only one out at the time. Um, Talked to him. Told him everything I had. What I was going to do about it. Made a blue ticket. Submitted it. And then everything got handled accordingly. Just it's kind of hard because you don't have anybody to talk with to kind of expand on if everything's right or wrong. But from my experience, I was completely in the right. Um, I mean, I was collecting evidence, stacking it up, made a report. Before I even submitted the blue ticket, I'd submit a video, make like a paragraph or however long it needed to be on said video, kind of like I would do for arrest reports. So basically, just state everything that happened in that video that I saw wrong and needed to be changed or talked to or fixed. Did that for every single one. Um, uh, you know, Always have body cam on when I'm around that person if anything slips out or anything. And then once I got enough evidence that I needed, I made a blue ticket, and everything got handled accordingly.
What policies would you implement to address internal corruption?
Um, I mean that was kind of a hard one. You're out in the city all day. Easily dealing with a bunch of gang members. NRP this as a game, so you're gonna find people on here that are pretty chill, have the same interests as you. So you're gonna take a liking to them, which is understandable. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to be in character when you have this uniform on. So you gotta still act like you're in character. Um, Policies wise, I think it would just be pretty set in stone that corruption or gang affiliation is not allowed. Because like an army, is immediate dismissal if you're caught with gang affiliation. So I think I just pretty much set that straight in stone, um, so that way people understand it and they can understand it before they make up or make a hiccup about it. But when it also comes to like dealing with gangs for like RP scenarios or anything to that extent, I think that needs to go up to the higher ups. That way, the higher ups are having the meetings. They're the ones talking to people, talking to the gang members for however long it takes. Um, so then they have a better of understanding, and they can work it down the chain. Um, so that in lower ranks talking to each other, getting that relationship built up, and then maybe one day they go corrupt or something. It's going to be the top of the chain where it's going to be the most secure and the strongest link before it gets passed down to a lower ranking individual that may not be that's strong link like a chief or DFG or the CGs or LGs or MGs maybe.
Have you ever disagreed with a superior's ethical judgment? What did you do?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of things I didn't agree with back when I was in Army, mainly with Antoine. Um, I'd let him do his thing. We'd be in the middle of a debriefing. I wouldn't agree with something. I'd let him finish his briefing. Would just let it happen. Then come time when I can get to him alone, I'd pull him aside alone, close off whatever part we're in. That way people don't just walk in and hear, what we're talking about. And then I just kind of bring it up to him and talk to him about it, see if there's something I'm missing or, something we can change a little bit so that we both agree with it and we both have similar interests. And that way it works for both of us and it works for the whole department.
How would you address inefficiencies in agency collaboration?
Can you expand on that?
So, do you remember a couple months ago we were trying to train with Army? Something went astray and Army got pissed off and kicked us out of base real fast?
Oh yeah.
That's an inefficiency in cross agency collaboration.
Okay, so maybe better communication from my side of my side of the spectrum on that one. Everybody was at fault. People were cussing at each other. People were calling each other names. So I don't think that's really fair in a sense. But the way said person handled that at the end and just kicked everybody out, that wasn't fair either. I think everybody should be able to come together as a whole. Everybody talk together as a whole. Um, and we should all be able to communicate before we just blow it up into something that it doesn't have to be. That way, everybody's on the same page, and shit doesn't always, pardon my French, but shit doesn't always go sideways right away.
Little side note, I think the guy that actually kicked us out was Antoine.
Yeah, it was.
How do you measure strategic success in homeland policing?
Mm. I mean, I think the way it's going now is pretty good. Um, you have people fill out complete reports, NRP just like they would IRL. Um, you'll make complaints. Yeah, we probably work on.
I'm so sorry. I want to apologize that I was not on for a bit and I'm sleepy. It's pretty late.
Yeah, I hope you realize that door's open on my screen.
Oh, it was open when he closed it. Then I guess
Let's see here.
bugs.
Yeah, I have the close marker. You're glitched.
Yeah, it's vice versa for me. But yeah, I like how it's set up now. All right, we get rest reports. And anybody can go and look at those to um, backtrack, see what people did wrong, see if people are doing what they need to be. Also, people can easily walk in, make complaints. Those get from my point of view, working my way up the ranks. They've always been dealt with accordingly. I almost wish NRP, the department, was set up a little bit better, or the game was set up a little bit better for complaints. That way, it's easier for everybody to get in contact with us. There's only so much you can do when it comes to that. But I mean, I like how everything goes now. One thing I would want to change is people getting out more. A lot of people just sit in PDG and don't do a whole lot. So I want to try and see if there's a way I could get something implemented that people get outside the PDG and actually, go patrol and stay active on their macros and their rules. So then they don't slip up in the future, when they get higher in the positions. So they can be looked up to and, respected in a sense. But I like how I think everything's pretty organized now. There's not too much I would really want to change.
How would you reform internal promotions or disciplinary processes?
Internal commotions?
Promotions, as in ranking up.
Oh, I think promotions. I think they've been sped up a little bit. from what I've been seeing. I think people need to, before you get your vest, most definitely before you get your vest, I feel like you should be able to redo your passive and aggressive and, different scenarios. That way people can, whoever's, doing that training can easily see that you are ready for a vest and you know how to use your macros, you know how to do them, right away, or, maybe maybe you got the violations memorized. That way you ain't tripping up when it's the real deal and you ain't having complaints on you 24/7 and you ain't doing something wrong once you get higher into those ranks. Because once you get higher into those ranks and lower ranks see a suit mess up, that reflects on everybody. Um, and it kind of looks like, a lot of people weren't paying attention to said suit or said vest. And, that kind of can create a um, disbalance within the faction. But disciplinary actions, I think that should just be, everybody's equal. If one person messes up, they're going to get disciplined and as what they did wrong. If it's something so stupid, you know, you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. Unfortunately, that's just how it works. So you're going to be disciplined accordingly. But like when it comes down to something so simple, um, there's ways you can work around it. But yeah, if it's just plain out stupidity, then you're just gonna get what you deserve. Because at the end of the day, you're supposed to maintain. You're supposed to be professional, and if you can't be professional, then you're gonna get either dismissed or punished to a severity.
What training reforms do you think are overdue?
Overdue. Like overused or not done enough.
Overdue, as in they should have happened a while ago.
Oh, oh. Yeah, passive and aggressive training, man. I get so many vests, or not vests. Well, I get a lot of vests that complain about they didn't get proper training, or um, I get unbadged or badged that didn't even get their passive and aggressive, or I get unbadged that come up to me and say they never got their training yet, their passive and aggressive, and they've been there for a while. Um, that's just like the main thing. That's the biggest thing that needs to be fixed. Can't have police officers running around with chickens with their head cut off NRP, and not arresting people unjustly, because that's gonna make us look bad. Other trainings, to my knowledge, have all been pretty much well kept.
If you were handed a blank slate, how would you create our department?
Damn. So nobody's in the faction at all.
No factions, no rules, no macros, no nothing.
Well, with what I know now, I think first thing would be starting off with the necessities, macros, rules, like PD rules, and like just like in the garage rules, um, like kind of like how you can only tase in the weight room, or you can't be shooting people in P, like simple shit like that. Set up ground rules. set up PD rules that everybody is held accountable to. Kind of get an idea by myself of how I want everything to look. Then kind of open a hiring thing to a select few small amount of people. Um, get them in the faction, get things going. Hopefully, within those select few people, I can find someone I trust, like how they run things, like how they operate. Bring them in on the loop too. That way, I have another person, to talk to, hear things, communicate with. When it comes to building the rest of the faction. Um, Once we get everything, rules wise built and set up properly, then I'd want to move on to hiring. Um, Also, a lot of training. When I would talk about selecting that small few of people, I'd want set up like a HR department or FTO unit or something. That way they can be held accountable to training those people when it comes to hiring. That way we have people who know what they're doing. That way we have people that are active, on, and that I can respect and trust when it comes to certain circumstances.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh God. Um, Respect, loyalty, authority. I don't know. I just want to be looked up to, in a sense. I want people to know they can come talk to me when they got questions or comments, concerns, whatever it may be. Um, I just want to be able to be the helpful person out of everybody. I want people to respect me when it comes down to it. It ain't got to be something all big and almighty powerful. I don't care about that, man. I just want to be able to be respected and loyal and get the same in return and do right. Right by all.
So, that was the end of it. I'm gonna hold you here for an extra little while, make everyone else sweat thinking that this interview is taking fucking forever. But while we wait, we can idly chat, and I will be making my dinner.
Holy fuck, man, that was a lot.
Now think about this. Only part of the questions that I asked you will actually be asked to the other candidates. I skipped around a lot just to make sure that a lot of my questions wouldn't cross over. Also, I don't...
You gotta make it all fucking hard on me. It's rude.
No, there are a lot harder questions than what I asked you in there, trust me.
God damn, that was a little stressful. Like some of them, I didn't even know what the hell some of the things meant, man. I was like, what the hell was this?
Yeah, that was kind of the point. To see how you react to everything. Because when you think about it, this interview is a whole lot of pressure. That's all it is.
Yeah, a little bit, man. little bit. Yeah. How long was that? Didn't feel like it was that long.
About 45 minutes.
That was 45 minutes?
Thereabouts, yeah.
Holy crap.
It's amazing what happens when you're actively answering questions, isn't it?
Yeah, they didn't feel like 45 minutes, man. That felt like way shorter. Wow. Yeah, I think people are already going to be sweating.
Yeah, me holding you till like 4 isn't gonna help any either.
Wow. Oh shit. Would you care if I make a call real quick, but somehow stay in game and then just relog because I had mic issues? I gotta call my boss.
No, feel free.
All right, I'm gonna make sure I stay in the game so people don't be like, "Oh, he got off. He got off."
Yes, please do.
Yeah. Damn, he didn't answer.
My mac and cheese turned into soup.
Ew.
I'm just gonna let
You think it-
sit there for a minute and mix it up, and maybe it'll lose some of that liquid.
Let it sit there and simmer.
Well, it can't even simmer. It's in a little microwave cup.
That shit. Yeah, that shit usually happens to be a little soupy. Put a little too much water in it.
No, I put the right amount of water in it. I just had to mix it up a little bit. There's also bacon bits in there, which kind of helped absorb some of the water, too.
Sounds good. How many people do you think are gonna get disqualified when I go down there?
I'm gonna laugh if, like, everyone disqualifies themselves, thinking that I'm not being serious about the whole, if you ask, you will get disqualified.
I mean, you could also just make it mandatory that I have body cam on when I go down there.
Yeah, I was actually planning on it. The only one that it really won't matter if they're running body cam is the last interview.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like everybody hearing, oh yeah, he's asking 100 questions and he's being really serious about it. And you going down there after less than an hour, they're just gonna be like, the fuck?
Man, that was nuts. I didn't think it actually took that long.
Yeah, see, me and my ADHD self were listening to music while listening to you and reading interview questions in advance. That way I knew which ones I was gonna ask you.
Sounds interesting.
See, this part of the process feels like it's taking longer than the rest of it.
Yeah, because nothing's happening. Just chilling. I'm just surprised nobody's logged out yet.
I did make it very clear that it was a disqualifier, and they saw where I disqualified people for not having signed on.
Tony Stark's still on as president.
Yeah, I have to run that list and see if anyone's off. Because, I mean, if they logged off and they're back on when I check that list, well, then I didn't see it. I can't exactly disqualify them unless somebody else brings it up to my attention.
Yeah, I just ran through them. I think I got everybody. Looks like everybody was on. I already thought Fez was gonna get disqualified in the beginning there. I was like, what the hell? Ain't no way.
I was tempted to, but because of the conversation we were having, it didn't feel right to have disqualified her because we were talking about the disqualification list, and I think she only has the one device.
I mean, yeah, but like, she didn't even say anything until she got back, which was weird.
Yeah, it is what it is. But you, my friend, are free to go. Make it a point to turn on your body cam, yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. Thank you.
No problem. You enjoy. Let me know if anyone decides they're going to question you on what happened up here.
Will do. Good luck.
Likewise.